Nicks and bruises. We are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guy Josh in the building. What's good, Josh?
What's going on, man? How's it going? Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? You can hear me all right?
Yeah. You freezing up, but we hear you fine.
Okay, let
There
me
you go.
try to fix that.
But
Go to some of these.
appreciate you joining me. Couple things I want to talk about. I think in the preseason, or it might have even been before the preseason, I had did a show asking who did we think, if anybody, could have a breakout season this year. And I believe DJ Shuttle, shout out to Shuttle, he was on the show. I know Queen was on the show. Sim might have been on the show too, I'm not sure. But I had a whole list of players that I thought had the potential to be have a breakout year. And surprisingly, like, the consensus amongst the chat, I mean amongst the panel, was really like, no individual. Um, so I just kind of wanted to revisit that. You know, right now so far, it's looking like a couple of guys are actually on the verge. I mean, the Knicks as a team look like they on the verge to take a step, but individually, RJ, it looks like he's having his best year. I think Mitchell Robinson, it looks like he's having his best year. Jalen Brunson has gotten better, which, when we talked about can Jalen Brunson get better, it was really hard for me to pick out um individual areas where he excuse me, where he could really improve. But he's improved his 3-point attempts percentage, um and makes, you know what I mean, attempts and makes. So that was one area, and his assists are, I believe, all-time high right now. And I mean, quickly, the list goes on. So we're gonna go through a couple players and break it down and revisit it. Do we feel like, is anybody on this team can have a breakout year this year? Who? Why? Who? Who we don't think? Why not? So yeah, let's get into it. I don't think you was on that show, Josh, but let's just say, before the season started, if you could erase your memory of what we've seen so far this year, did you think anybody was you know possibly gonna have a breakout year this year? Who would you have said? Why? And then we'll get into what we've seen so far.
So I didn't think anybody specifically can have a breakout year because I think, first of all, it's all relative, right? Every player is different. Breakout year can mean different things depending on how you think about it and who you're talking about, right? Tony, before I go though, Darren Wilkinson in the chat. I mean, he's like, "Why is this clown with you? Why I got to be all of that, man? Why I got to be all of that? See, just because you don't agree with me, it turns out that I've been right about a lot of things that I've been saying about this team. It's just that you don't necessarily agree with this. So I mean, I don't got to be a clown. I don't got to be all of that, man. It's just disagreements. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your takes are. I've never even probably seen you in some of these chats, so I don't even know you or know what you stand on or whatever. But it ain't got to be like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got to be like that. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by this guy, I didn't really have a specific player I thought was going to have a breakout year. I thought there was ways for players to improve, to do certain things differently. A lot of it comes down to efficiency for some of these players, like RJ, for example. I think his big improvement need to come with efficiency and consistency, and he has definitely done that, right? But I don't think that's necessarily a big leap for him in my eyes. Big leap for RJ Barrett, I would have looked at it and I would have said him basically developing that pull-up game and turning into that star player. That's, for me, that's the leap for RJ Barrett, in my opinion. But he has improved with some of the efficiency stuff that I was looking for, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a big leap. Brunson, I didn't think Brunson. I thought he played at an all-star level last season. I thought he could come into the season and continue to do the same things, which I think he has done, right? But to me, that's not a big leap because I had that expectation for him already, right? So I really didn't have any specific player that I thought was going to take a big leap from my point of view. Obviously, I think for you, it's a little bit different. And you're muted.
My bad. The thing with Brunson, I felt the same way. He he played so well. It was just hard for me to fathom um how can he take another leap. What I said at the time, I think, was maybe recognition. You know what I mean? You said he played as an all-star level, so maybe this year he can get the actual nod and become the all-star. You know what I mean? Get the recognition from the league. But to me, like you said, he was already playing at an all-star level, so it was really about recognition for him. But that being said, I mean, we could start with Brunson and go through some of the players. And to Darren, I'm about to put the link in the chat. If you want to come up and express some views for 3 minutes or something, come on in and you know what I mean. We could hash it out. But it's all love here, man. Josh is my guy, even though we disagree on a lot of takes. You know what I mean. That's what the channels are for, man. Everybody's not gonna agree, obviously, but nah, it's all love. But yeah, let's start with Brunson. Do you think he's taken a step forward this year? Anything that he's done surprised you? Have you recognized the 3 point attempts? Um, more of them, higher percentage. I mean, he's been on fire for a couple of games. Where 5 for 6, 6 for 7. I think he tied his 3 point make record this year, or broke his record this year.
In a single
Um,
game, you're talking about.
yeah, single game. You know what I mean. But the pull up is looking better than ever, and then the assists. Those are the two things for Brunson that have stood out for me. Anything that stood out for you or surprised you, even though we both thought he was already playing at an all star level.
Tony, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I don't see anything from Brunson that has surprised me. I mean, I think if I had to pinpoint something, it would be more of from a negative perspective. And I don't want to talk too negative
Turnovers.
because I know already how people get. But it's the turnovers for me. To me, that's
Mhm.
surprising for Jalen Brunson, who takes care of basketball. We, appreciated what he brings to the table as far as his efficiency, but also his IQ. But this early in the season, he turned the ball over way too much. He's seen a lot of uncharacteristic things from him. And he didn't shoot the ball that great to start the season. I think it was like probably the third or fourth game in which Brunson finally started to shoot the ball well, basically getting back to that level that he did last season. But as far as positives, I don't really see anything surprising from Brunson that we didn't already know. We know he has the ability to pull up. We know his mid-range game is impeccable. We know he has the ability to calm his team down and lead, right? And he's been doing that this season, right? He just didn't start the ball off that start the season off that great in regards to the turnovers. But I think he's right back into that all-star form that he should have been last season. I do want to say though, and this is kind of I don't know how far we're going to dive into this, but I still think there is an importance for the Knicks to have Brunson on the floor with Emmanuel quickly at the end of games. Not necessarily saying anything negative about Brunson. Like he's great, he's been tremendous. But I think when you have that other ball handler on the floor, that I keep going back to, and Emmanuel quickly, you put him on the ball and you put Brunson off of it. To me, I just think that helps this team so much at the end of games because you can turn Randall and you can turn Brunson into finishers. Brunson, again, phenomenal as a primary ball handler. His pull-up game is great, but he is equally as great in that captain clutch role in the catch and shoot. So a lot of the times, the game last night, the game a couple nights ago against Atlanta, or no, it was 5 days ago or whatever it was against Atlanta. You've seen quickly on the floor, and Brunson knocked down some big clutch 3-pointers in the catch and shoot role, not necessarily on the ball, right? Not taking anything away from Brunson because we know he has that ability, but I just think for this team, it's so much more difficult for the Knicks to be guarded when you put Brunson in an off-ball role at times at the end of games. But no, to answer your question, no, I don't think Brunson's taking any type of leap. He's back to that same form for most of last season.
Um, two things. Well, let me start with the turnovers because I agree. A lot of uncharacteristic, unforced turnovers for Brunson this year, which has been different. But to me, there's a direct correlation to him actually moving the ball a little bit more. So and his turnovers. I think he's looking to find guys a little bit more than he was last year. And again, I'm not knocking him either. I like what I'm seeing from him from that aspect, but I think it's a direct correlation with him upping his assists which is probably upping his turnovers as well because he's getting rid of the ball more than normal. What do you think about that?
I can agree with that. I think there is a way to view it that way. I wouldn't necessarily say um, getting rid of the ball more as opposed to trying to get rid of the ball a little bit more. I think that like he's trying to um, do that. You know what I mean? He's actively trying to do that, and I think there's a positive and a negative with that. Obviously, the positive, the assist, right? But in that attempt, also there's a lot of unforced turnovers. Um, And I've seen a lot of times with Brunson, he's had that pull up. He get past his first man, had that pull up, and instead of taking that short mid range jump shot, he elects to pass it. But that shot, that is a great shot, in my opinion. He, got past his man, and that's in his wheelhouse in that mid range. And sometimes you pass up that to try to get a little bit of an easier shot. But to me, I don't think there's many more easier shots on the floor than Brunson taking that mid range, right? So that's an example. So I get both sides of it, but I just think you can't turn the basketball over. You just can't.
Oh,
It just
I'm not.
never leads to anything.
I'm not justifying it, and nor do I think it will continue. But I mean, I just been trying to figure it out because it's uncharacteristic of him. Why, you know what I mean? A lot, and a lot of them have been unforced. You know what I mean? It's not like a defender was on him. It was
Right.
more of him throwing it away as opposed to it being stolen. Directly stolen. So I mean, that's just the conclusion I've come up with. I could be off. As far as the Emmanuel quickly closing, or another ball handler closing with him, I agree 100%. That's one of the catch 22s with Grimes. Um, I mean, you got him out there to guard, whoever is that elite wing on the other side, but he doesn't handle the ball well or much or both. You know what I mean? So I agree with you 100%. The funny thing is, I mean, and we're gonna get into this probably a little more in depth later. Um, quickly didn't close last night. It was DiVincenzo and filling that same exact role. Secondary.
Disagree.
I mean,
We'll get there.
I mean, I know how you feel, but I rewatched the game as well, and
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going
no,
to cut you off.
I'm just saying he. I'm not saying he is a better ball handler than Quickly by no stretch. What I'm saying is he did close the game last night, and it wasn't Quickly, and he did take over some of those duties. So I think it's I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying it's just funny that last night DiVincenzo closed the game out, and he was doing that. He was helping Brunson.
The,
Um,
the, diff- the
bring
difference
the ball
between
up
that game was already out of hand. The Knicks were going to win that game, right? The Knicks were up by 10 points, and that's due to DiVincenzo. So again, I'm not taking that part away from him. When I talk about closing games, I'm talking about those tight games. Yeah, those types of games, right? I think it's way different having Quickly on the floor out there than DiVincenzo because of that ball handling from Quickly.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think we both agreed, even with as bad as Quickly played in the playoffs, had he been available, it would have been a different, not a different outcome, but I think a different situation because of the threat he is on the floor. And it's harder to double team Brunson or focus on Brunson when the guard next to him is able to create and kill you. So
No,
I think we agree.
but no, but you did bring up last night, right? And you mentioned Dante DiVincenzo again. We talk about. I mentioned already why it's not a really good comparison because the Knicks were already going to win that game, but also Dante DiVincenzo wasn't an on-ball player for the most part down the stretch of the last game. His 7 threes that he hit with all off catch and shoot. Right now, again, he has the ability to do it in spurts at times, but I think it's so important. What Quickly brings as far as being the guy with the ball in his hands, setting things up, and Brunson's playing off of that. You won't see that when it comes to DiVincenzo and Brunson. Now, maybe DiVincenzo will probably be on the floor, but DiVincenzo is not going to have the ball in his hands for the majority of the time. It's really just going to be catch and shoot, and his ability to make those shots is important. But I still think in those close, tight situations, you're going to need another ball handler on the floor, and that's where Quickly comes in. I just don't think it's a it's a really good comparison comparing DiVincenzo to Quickly in that end of game.
I wasn't
So
making it. I wasn't making a comparison. I was making a analysis, a point of last night. Quickly wasn't shooting the ball well, particularly. He actually
mhm.
played better in the second half than the first half, but um, DiVincenzo closed the game. That was the only point I was making. I wasn't comparing it, and but it's a good thing to have because in the event that Quickly isn't playing well or Quickly is unavailable, DiVincenzo would still be a upgrade closing the game than a Grimes would. So
I mean, I guess I just don't think that would be enough for the team collectively, in my opinion, and close games. And that's what I keep going back to, Tony. Like again, you can compare him to Grimes, but I think him and Grimes fit the same role as far as the catch and shoot. Like none of those guys provide that level of primary ball handling that I guess I would be looking for at the end of games. When you compare him to Grimes, I guess that's one thing. I'm not talking about Grimes. I'm talking about just as far as the primary ball handling role and having Brunson play off of that. When DiVincenzo closed the game out last night, as you said, Brunson had the ball in his hands. The whole purpose for me having this perspective is to get the ball out of Brunson's hands at times at the end of games.
all right, it's my last point on this matter
Okay, yeah, yeah.
because I think we seen it a little bit different. But even last night, it felt like when Brunson took over, it was out of necessity. So you're right, but it wasn't like he had the ball in his hands the entire fourth quarter. When he had the ball in his hands, it was because it was time for him to take over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Yeah.
so he was allowed to play a little off ball last night with DiVincenzo on ball. That's all I'm saying. But Andy, salute. Andy in the chat. I don't know what time it is over there, but I'm glad you awake and you watching. Salute, my brother. Um, and you got keys, so jump in if you feel if you want. Um, who's the next guy up? Next guy up. Well, you said you had a guy you wanted to talk about, so
Yeah.
I'll give you the floor. And who's the guy that has stood out to you?
Yeah, and this is a
Who,
nod to you. This is a direct nod to you because I know we've had our discussions about this particular player, and I wasn't necessarily hating on this guy. I didn't really feed into the whole thing about replacing him like some of y'all did, replacing him for a different kind of player at his position that could do more things offensively. I wasn't really stuck to that too much because I still think this player had an important role for what the team is trying to do. And it's Mitchell Robinson. I just let the cat out the bag. It's Mitchell Robinson. I think even let's say if Steven Adams wasn't hurt on Memphis, you're still talking about a top two offensive rebounder in the game. But with Steven Adams being out, Mitchell Robinson is by far and away the best offensive rebounder in basketball. I think his defensive rebounding has improved tremendously. You talk about defense and what Quentin Grimes was talking about at the beginning of the season, who was the most important player on this team, and he said Mitchell Robinson. A lot of people didn't really feel for that. But I mean, you can just look at it. The proof is in the pudding. What this guy's been doing on the floor, affecting shots defensively. The second chance points are just out of this world. And now he's also taking a step offensively as well. The team is starting to find him a little bit, giving him the ball in the half court offense so he can be able to get positioning and get some shots up at the rim. I think he has taken the biggest leap for me, in my opinion. And I think at this point right now, this early in the season, he's been all NBA defense. No question about it, all NBA defense. I wouldn't go defensive player of the year, but I would say all NBA defense for sure. So I'm going to go with Mitch.
Nope, no pushback at all. No pushback at all. I agree 100%. Yeah, I was one of the people. I think I did a show referencing that as well. Grimes saying he's the most important person on the team, and I as much as I love Mitch, and I understood why he said it, I didn't agree with it at the time. I mean, it's easy to say Brunson is the most important person. It's easy to say Randall is the most important person. But yeah, I think I shunned it off too quickly. You know what I mean? Like I didn't give it a full thought. But I mean, what he does and the way the Knicks play and the way the Knicks win. Let's take last year for example, right? As bad as we was shooting the ball percentage wise, we still ended up what was it, top three offense
Hmm.
in the league. And
Offensive
how did
rating,
offensive rating? But how did we do that? It was because of Mitchell Robinson and his presence, his offensive rebounding, second chance opportunities, second chance points, um, having more attempts than the opposing team. You know what I mean? And that's what got us. That's why we were capable of being top three offensive rating, but not shooting the ball well from three, not shooting the ball well from two, not shooting the ball well from the free throw line. To be honest, like as a team, I mean, we need to get that up still. But that, I mean, it makes sense as to why he was the most important guy because he's the one giving us those extra opportunities. So
right?
I agree that he is one of a couple of people that's taking a leap this year. This is by far his best year. That
Let me ask you this question: Do you think when do you think this started? Because I think there's a good argument to be made that it started last playoffs in that first series against Cleveland, where he dominated. I mean, completely dominated their bigs over there, and I think he has not looked back since that first series. Um, and Apollo Williams, I agree. Mitch is extremely one dimensional. I mean, but one dimensional in what aspect? What are you talking about? Is he just a defensive player? Because I think
Mhm.
offensively he helps us just as much with his offensive rebounding. So, do you mean one dimensional offensively, one dimensional defensively? Like, what do you mean by that? But what do you think about that, Tony? Do you think that started for Mitch last season in the playoffs against and he was a great
I,
offensive rebounder
I,
last season
I
during the
I
regular
think it,
season?
I think it solidified it. I think it
Right,
started during the season, but that series definitely. I mean, you talking about first playoff series because he wasn't available against Atlanta,
right.
and that was the talk from us, the chats and the podcast. What would we have been had Mitchell Robinson been available, and then he came out and said it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if it was available, that wouldn't have happened. It would have been different. You know what I mean? And then for him to show out like that in his first ever playoff series, I think it just solidified it. I've gone on record years ago saying, um, and again, I'm not calling him a superstar, but that's where superstar stardom is born. It don't matter what you do, in the regular season, what your numbers are, but if you never make the playoffs, I can't consider you a superstar. And then in the playoffs, you got to have one of those performances. You know what I mean? And that's where superstardom is born. But the same thing with any type of what's the word I'm trying to say, like recognition is it's so defensive, you know what I mean, like all that comes in the playoffs when you do it under the brightest lights in the biggest moments. So I think it solidified it for him for sure.
Yeah,
um
when I agree with you 100% as well. I just want to also emphasize the reason why those lights are brighter is because the games are more important, but also, and like you said, in regards to those recognition and or those accolades and things of that nature, the games are also televised nationally, right? You get the league and the entire country and NBA fans all across the country get a chance to witness um, those performances. So I agree with you 100%. I just wanted to also emphasize that point as well.
that's a great point because I never like when you said that, the first thing that popped into my head is Julius Randle, right?
Hmm.
And obviously Knicks fans, we watch him day in day out every day, and even that is divided as far as who we believe he is, how whether we like him or not, etc. But this is the first time I really thought about the world watching Julius Randle, right?
Yeah.
And what they seen, and now their perspective, because they may have never seen a Knick game all year, and then seen him, you know what I mean, and then seen his playoff performance, um, and that's very influential. You know what I mean? Like that perspective sticks. You know what I mean? Like, so it may be a little bit easier for you or I or us Knicks fans to defend him at times because we've seen what he can do over 82 games, right? What he has done over 82 games, what he has done as far as 1 year to the next. So,
Mhm.
but the basketball world in general, who may not follow every team but watches all the playoff games, they got a different perspective. So, I mean it
And
just it's interesting.
and without going too deeply into this next point that I'm about to make, this is why I think Knicks fans oftentimes when they say I'd rather see the Knicks on MSG instead of watching them national, that's why I kind of think that's a little bit short sighted because I think those national games are extremely important for the rest of the fan bases around the country to get to view your team. Those are extremely important when it comes to um, judging your team from a national perspective, right? And that's where the whole ESPN thing and all that gets in there. But again, I just think the way the media views teams is based on how well they perform at the national stage and, like what you said, in the playoffs. And that's how teams are going to gain respect across the league. Because within their own fan base, it's biased, right? It's we love our team. Sometimes um, we're very biased in that regard, right? But I think when people complain about why the Knicks are treated this way, why the Knicks are treated that way, I think it's mostly because of how they perform on national TV in the playoffs. So just keep that in mind to the fan base. You muted again, Tony.
Juju Caesar agrees with you. He says the playoff series against Cleveland awakened the monster within Mitch. This season, the monster is being unleashed. Yeah, man. I'm so happy for Mitch. I'm so happy for his development. Like he looks focused on the bench. I was saying this last night. Like it's, in the past. I mean, we've seen it millions, hundreds of times or whatever. He gets taken out of a game, right? For whatever reason, a foul trouble, whatever the reason, and he's huffing and puffing. He's mad. What I mean, he's upset whether it's with himself because he's getting pulled. Where he got pulled last night, like he looked like he needed to sit down and rest. Like, what I mean? He's out of breath. He's huffing and puffing. It wasn't no animosity. It was just great to see. I mean, he's maturing. Like he don't joke around and be playing on the bench no more. You know what I mean? Like he be focused,
Right.
yelling out defensive assignments on the floor. You know what I mean? Like he's becoming a vocal leader on the defensive end, probably the vocal leader on the
Yeah.
defensive end, and that's just as important as what I mean, his actual contributions on the defensive end. So shout out to Juju. Somebody else I want to shout out. Kavan, salute. I can't find the I can't find I want to talk about Brunson again, man, because last night I feel like he put his jersey on backwards. You know what I mean, and put New York on his back. Every time, like he dropped, we had 27 in the first half. He could have came out in the second half like, all right, I'm going for 50. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make this a career night. But no, he found his teammates. He played within the game. Like let the what Tip said, the game will dictate what to do. I felt like that's what he did. And then anytime that lead got cut to 6, anytime that lead got cut to 5, it was like, all right, give me the ball. Let me get this lead back up to 11. Get it back up to 11, and then it was like, all right, team game again. But I mean, every single time we needed to stop the bleeding, it was Brunson time. So yeah, man.
Yeah, Tony. Again, I don't want to take anything away from that because I think that by far that Brunson move bringing him here was by far the best move to Leon Rose front office and all that. That was by far the best move, easily, right? I had no complaints about it when we did it. I thought this guy was an efficient player, and I thought his time was coming. I just tend to focus a lot on how the Knicks are getting their shots, a lot because I'm a big proponent, and I'm happy that this offense is now uh, better. What's up, Queen? The Giants won.
Good try. No, I don't know how happy I am with that, though, but yeah,
Hold it
I,
up.
I heard that was an intriguing question by Jarrell. How happy are you gonna be
Right,
if if they lose?
right, right,
I mean,
right.
if they win. Oh, shout out to Jarrell. Peace, Queen. Appreciate you.
Peace to both of you.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you. So,
I
so
feel
yeah,
like is I'm sorry, real quick. No, finish your point, Josh.
no, no. I was just trying to. I was just focused on more how the Knicks are getting their shots. I always focus on the how when it comes to the offense, right? Brunson is an extremely efficient player, extremely efficient. He is phenomenal. Um, and his shot making is uncanny. It's tremendous. But I just think if you can turn him into an off-ball player at times, because when he's on the ball and teams are crowding him, that takes away from that effectiveness a little bit. And
Mhm.
granted, during last season against Miami, he was being double teamed, triple teamed, or whatever, and still making shots. But that is not ideal. You know what I'm saying? That's not ideal. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I was coming from with that. Brunson, Captain Clutch, he has the ability to make those shots off the ball, and we should definitely explore using that a little bit more at times, not all the time, but at times, particularly at the end of close games.
I agree with you 100%. And there's no push. I think the only part that we aren't in 100% agreement is the DiVincenzo thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
that,
and again,
yeah,
but other than that, I agree. That's what you've been saying regardless of what we need to add. You know what I mean, whether we have it on the team or not. Like you've been consistent in that point, and I agree with you 100%. Queen, I don't think I've shared the screen with you since we last
In a minute.
you know what I mean, since we was at the game. So definitely miss the energy, you know what I mean? Queen's Court, Knicks and Bruises, the whole Monday lineup. It's been crazy the past couple of weeks. But it makes it more special when you know what I mean, when we miss some time and then we
Yeah,
link back
no
up.
doubt,
So
no doubt.
um appreciate you jumping in. We're basically revisiting before the season started when I was asking about what Knicks do we think could take a leap, and then how we're feeling about what we've seen thus far. Um we haven't really talked about RJ yet, and to me, I feel like Josh is saying Mitch, and that's a fair argument. You know what I mean? But I think the consensus amongst Knicks fans, like you can't argue with what we have seen from RJ Barrett so far this year
right,
across the board.
Right,
You know what I mean? Across the board, like all deficiencies. And I'm not saying it's finished, it's solved, it's done. Like you know what I
right,
mean? But as of what we've seen so far, every deficiency that he's had has been, you know what I mean, an X mark to it. From free throw shooting to 3-point shooting to finishing at the basket. I mean, defense. I mean, he would be the guy that I would say right now is taking or has taken the biggest leap thus far. But I'm interested in your thoughts, Queen. Who would going back from before? I know you were one of the ones you were like nobody. I know Shutter was like nobody. Oh, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, they crushed my whole show. I thought but but I mean, pleasantly surprised. What have you liked? What have you seen so far? Has anybody changed your mind? I'll say that.
it would be RJ Barrett. It would be RJ Barrett, and I think if he continues to play like this, in my opinion, he changes the ceiling of the Knicks. I think I think Mitchell Robinson, no doubt about it, has taken his game to another level, but his deficiencies on the offensive end still remains, and in the playoffs, that still can create a problem for us. Though you can argue that it's worth it because he's bringing so much on the defensive end. But RJ Barrett, and listen, no one has been as hard on RJ Barrett as I have, particularly last season. But I think his process is different, and his floor game. And it started in the playoffs, it continued through FIBA, and now you see it in the beginning of this season. And we saw it in preseason. And you can argue that Tibbs played him in the preseason, coming off a fever, just to because he knows he gets off to slow starts, just to keep him in the groove. I don't know if that's the case, but I can definitely argue that. Forget the efficiency. That's otherworldly. And that 3-point shooting is going to come back down to earth, right? He's like 50% or something. It might have went down in the last game. I didn't check it. That's otherworldly. That's going to come down. But his defense has improved. When he drives to the basket, and again, I haven't checked his finishing percentage compared to others at his position, because we always 58% is compared to others at his position. That's important. I haven't checked that as of late. But it seems to me he's either finishing at the rim, he's getting fouled, or he's setting somebody up for a really good shot. Like that tunnel vision is not there, right? He's flexible now in the sense that he can play on the ball where he's creating offense for himself and others, and he can play off the ball because he's hitting his catch and shoot threes, right? Then the mid-range shot, now he doesn't take it a lot, but he can shoot off the dribble now. So now when he's driving, what is he going to do? Is he going all the way? Is he pulling up? If he's passing? So I think RJ Barrett right now is in a really, really good groove. And my hope is that this continues, because if it does raise the ceiling of the Knicks. No doubt about it. So for me, my vote would go to RJ Barrett, though Mitch is. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Mitchell Robinson, no doubt about it.
Josh had pointed it out, and I'm gonna bring it right back up. It makes them comments from Crit and Grimes hit a little bit different now, right?
Where he said that he's the most important, something like that. Yeah, he's important. The only thing I'll say though is the times that Mitchell Robinson has been out, Hartenstein and Sims and Noel, they have not been Mitchell Robinson. Don't get me wrong, but they've been able to fill in, and the Knicks have been okay. You know what I mean? So that's probably why I wouldn't choose him over RJ Barrett. But Mitchell Robinson is yeah. It's not much that he's just playing. I'm loving it. I'm watching the game and I'm like, look at, did you see that? You see the rebound? His defensive rebound. Like everybody would always say, oh, the reason he doesn't get the defensive rebound is because he's out of position, covering everybody out on the okay. He's getting them now.
He heard you.
You can argue that our perimeter defense is better and he doesn't have to get out, but I never bought that anyway. He's just stronger. Yeah. And he's just dominating offensive boards, defensive boards. He's so much smarter now.
Yeah.
In terms of when his block shots may be down some, but he's smarter in terms of what block shots to go for, when to leave it alone. He's just on another level. He's thinking the game defensively.
And he's had at least 3 games with 3 steals.
Yeah.
So far. At least 3.
Yeah. He's in shape, so he can stay in his position and keep his hands out and use his hands, So yeah, I'm feeling Mitchell Robinson right now.
Josh, RJ Barrett, he's your runner-up. I know you picked.
Oh yeah. He would be my runner-up. I mean, I still give Mitch the edge over him. And the reason being is I think I do agree with Queen a lot in regards to RJ. He is definitely seeing the game a little bit different. His floor game is much better. But I think what takes RJ to the level that he's at right now, or how people view that, is the efficiency. His efficiency is otherworldly. That's not a negative thing, but we do have the expectation that it's going to come down to the mean, right? He's averaging at this point 2 points more than what he did all of last season. And a lot of people would say, well, if RJ Barrett can get his efficiency to this level, he'll score 25 points per game. That's not necessarily the case, because right now he's only at 21 and a half. I mean, not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what it is.
After a bad game, though, because he was at 25 prior to the injury.
Okay. So fair enough. So yeah, might be right.
24 points. 24.
That's still a large jump. So you're right. Either way. I just think the shooting numbers will eventually go down at a certain point. I do like his catch and shoot game. That's something I was emphasizing last year because I didn't believe that he had the ability to be like a quickly as far as ball handling is concerned. I think he's very slow in that regard. He's improving that aspect of it. But if he can catch and shoot and knock down some big shots like we've seen in the playoffs, then that's an improvement for me. Yeah, but he has improved. There's no doubt about it. Again, for me, I just want to see more of the pull up game and the off the dribble game improve. To me, that's the next step for RJ. That takes him into stardom, in my opinion. But there's no doubt about it. He's been tremendous. Let's see if RJ, during those times where he's not shooting the ball great, if he's still going to be able to play well and do some of those things that Queen was talking about, without shooting the basketball as well, right? But yeah, he would be a runner-up to Mitchell Robinson, in my opinion. But great points by both of you in regards to RJ. I have no complaints.
Salute to Stafford. Salute to Dwayne Dennis. What you said? My bad. What area would you say he took the biggest leap? I know. I don't know if you were speaking for yourself or in general, Josh, when you said the efficiency. For me, it's actually been the playmaking, like, and it hasn't been like the numbers haven't been like a huge leap, but like Queen said, that tunnel vision doesn't seem to be there anymore. Like he's making passes that I could easily be like, he wasn't gonna make that pass last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he was gonna try to finish regardless of what was going on last year. He was trying to finish that, and now he's making the right reading the defense. So to me, like, that's been what I've liked to see. That's what I've seen that I like the most. You know what I mean? Like, because that opens up all types of things. You know what I mean? If he's gonna create as well as, you know what I mean, now attack, finish, you know what I mean? But so I'm gonna go with the playmaking. Whoever wants to go first, and then we'll move to another player.
Catch and shoot for me. To me, it's catch and shoot and the consistency with the catch and shoot. Last night was the only game where he didn't shoot that great, but other than that, his catch and shoot game has been great. Randall or Brunson can drive, and RJ is knocking that shot down in that corner or the wing. What is it? Almost 50% of the time. So to me, that's the biggest improvement for me. The consistency with that.
Right. The biggest improvement for me is the floor game, because I don't anticipate his shooting staying where it is. I don't see, and he can definitely prove me wrong. I just never imagine him being an efficient shooter anyway. So for me, it was more about, can you defend your position? Can you create shots for yourself and others? You're elite at getting to the rim. Can you finish at what you're elite at, getting to the rim? Can you finish? And can you hit other players? Because he commands a lot of attention when he drives. And there are people, there's been videos of people on the 3-point line, like, waving their hands. Can he do that? And to me, if he does that, he's a really good player. Obviously, if his catch and shoot game remains, I'm not even talking about 50%, anywhere from 35 to 42%. Now we're talking about another level. But that's not really what I'm expecting for him. Defend your position, create for yourself and others, and yeah, if you can knock down a few shots or whatever, I would appreciate it. But for me, it's just how he's seeing the game, playing within the flow of the game. He doesn't seem to be forcing it. There was times last year he would get the ball and start the offense over. Like he's just, if I'm not getting it for a few possessions, so what? So that's the biggest improvement for me.
No doubt. I don't know if y'all
Check on
can
your
hear
car,
that.
Tony. Check on your car.
It ain't mine. It ain't mine. I didn't know if you could hear it or not, but yeah, that ain't mine. The neighbors be wilding sometimes. Let's move to another player. We did RJ. We did Mitch. I mean, we talked about Brunson a little bit. I don't know if you want to add anything to what or your thoughts on Brunson so far. I said, I know you're aware of the whole shout out to Sin with the Captain Clutch
Yes.
apparel. And he's
So
becoming.
he's gonna do that in long sleeve t-shirts.
I'm not sure, but prediction.com. All the information is,
the orders are up. You can order them.
yeah. Friday. Yep.
Oh,
Since
okay.
Friday. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and they going. So
yeah, I'm definitely
um,
gonna get one.
well, so anything you want to add about Brunson? What I was saying is he turned his jersey back around. You know what I mean? So New York is on. He put New York on his back, and that's how he turns into Captain Captain Clutch. But what have you seen from him? I pointed out that it's his assists. I think he's making a conscious effort, finding people a little bit more. I mean, he still take over when need be, but to me, it's not in the same sense as RJ, but it feels like he's really just trying to make sure people are involved, and it's not just my time to take over. You
Right.
know what I mean? He's doing both. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's taken him some time to get where he is. I think his game yesterday was okay. I think up to yesterday, it didn't seem like he was, in his flow or his usual self. And I think part of that is he's taking more threes. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Thibodeau didn't look at that percentage and have that conversation with him like he had with Randall. You need to put up more threes. So him trying to integrate that. I think him also trying to, integrate looking for people more, coming off of FIBA. So I don't really think he's into his groove yet. I think it's coming. I think that Brunson is a shoot, score first point guard. And when you compare him with the other shoot first point guards, score first point guards in the league, at least last season, I haven't done it yet for this season. Dame, Curry, DeJounte Murray.
John
Um,
Morant.
that's a good one. I didn't put Morant. He's suspended. He's like out of my mind. Uh, Trey Young. As far as assist percentage, pass percentage off drives, he's right there, if not better than those other guys. And I think that when we are talking about RJ, when we're getting down on Randall and his passing, when we're talking about Brunson, you got to compare him to all of these guys, to other guys at their position. Not necessarily what we want them to do, but are they doing what everybody else at their position is doing? He's a pass first point guard. Excuse me,
score first.
not that. He's a score first point guard. So guys are gonna get what they're gonna get off of him scoring, their driving,
Penetrating.
and that
Yeah.
and now, but I will say this though. He can get his shot anytime. Mitch can't. Grimes is getting a little better at it. That's not his game right now. So yeah, I think it would bode well for him and for us. Let me get those guys involved first because I can get mine at any time. Let me get Mitch going. Let me see if I can get some easy shots from Grimes and come back to what I need to do later because I can get my shot anytime. I would definitely like to see that from him. But people who want him to change his game and um, you know, oh, he's a pass. He's supposed to get everybody involved. Like none of
No.
nobody is saying that about Dame. Nobody is saying that about Curry. Nobody is saying that about you know uh, blank. Put whoever's name in there, and keep in mind the Randall's assists is up. Brunson's assists are up. Part of it is their passing.
Making shots
But
and
part of it
making
is that
shots.
we are making shots. Not our 2-point percentage. I don't think that's that great yet.
Nope.
But we're top 10 as far as our 3-point percentages. So guys have to knock down shots. So I'm okay with Brunson right now. I do think there's some areas he needs to tighten up. But remember, this is his first time being a full-time.
Hmm.
This is second year being a full-time point guard for an organization. He's still leveling up. He still have some work to do.
Two things to piggyback off of that. Um, it's his second year as the number one guy, but this is the first year where he's having to adjust, right? Because it was new to him, it was new to the league last year. So now coming on that second year, I'm sure the game plan is a little bit more different. The schemes are a little bit more different on how to stop them. So he's also in the midst of adjusting to what teams have created to, you know what I mean, to stop him. So that in a sense is gonna take some time. I attribute that to the slow start, if you will, or you know what I mean. I was telling Josh earlier. For me, I feel like he's consciously making more efforts to find people, and I think that directly correlates to his uncharacteristic higher turnovers early this year, because a lot of those passes like is they really been unforced. You know what I mean? It's really been um giveaways as opposed to take it from him. So that's the only thing that I could contribute attribute it to. So that, what are your thoughts on that, Queen? And then I mean we could jump on another player because
Josh,
Josh, you want
No, go
you
ahead,
said.
Queen.
No,
Go ahead,
I
Queen.
don't really have anything to add. I do think the turnovers are up. I do think, but not just him. I think the entire team is making a concerted effort to make
yes,
the
extra pass.
him,
100%.
Randall, IQ are very ball dominant, and I could just see all of them. Randall always passed, but even now, even more, it seems like all three of them are making a concerted effort to um, make the extra pass. Now, I will say that it's not in their DNA though. So you're going to have the games that I don't think they're going to be as consistent. There'll be games in which they make the extra
Mhm.
pass. There'll be games in which they don't, because all three of those guys are alphas in the sense that they believe they can get their shot off and score regardless. And so it's hard for them. I see you, Grimes, in the corner, but I know I can make this shot. You know what I mean? So, but I think they've been making a concerted effort to make the extra pass anyway.
That's a
You
great
know?
point. That's a
Um,
great
so,
point.
so yeah.
Yeah, and to bounce off Queen's last point, I wasn't even going to mention that, but that goes back to what I was saying earlier, Tony, about at the end of games having all three of those guys on the floor at the same time, because it forces the other two who doesn't have the ball to give it up at a certain point, particularly when they're double teamed. And that's how Jalen Brunson's catch and shoot numbers have been tremendous. I think his 3 point he's shooting 47% from three, only 43 from the field overall. Right. I expect those numbers to go up at a certain point and get to that mean and get somewhere around 47, 48%. And maybe his
You
3 point
expect
percentage
him to
takes
stay
some.
that way? Brunson's catch and shoot?
No, he's talking
Yeah.
about his 2 point
No, no, no,
going
no,
up.
no, no. Well, yeah, I was talking about that. But to answer your question, Queen, specifically, yeah, I do. His catch and
Wow.
shoot. Yes, because because again, I think at the end of games, when Thibodeau goes to that lineup with Randall, Brunson, and Quickly, and they put the ball in Quickly's hands, I think because Quickly is so bouncy and he can draw some people as well, Brunson having that open look from three, he's been money with that. He's been money with that since he's been here on the team, even last season. Right. So I do expect that to stay that way as long as the Knicks continue to play the way they're playing. But to me, I don't what Brunson's doing this season, I don't expect Brunson to be anything than himself. He is a great player. He has so many intangibles and winning intangibles that you're going to need on the team. One thing that's not talked about enough with Brunson, he draws charges. The guy draws, like, how many players in the NBA are drawing charges nowadays from the guard spot? That is unheard of.
I'm not speaking on it because that was my argument for Kimba, and we know what
That's
happened.
true. That's true. That's true.
So
But I feel like Brunson still scraps and tries to play defense. I think what's not happening defensively is more because of his, his size. But you could
His
argue the
size.
same thing for Kimba too. So you're right, Tony. You
No, but I'm saying, Tony,
no,
the
I'm not.
guy.
I'm not
Yeah,
disagreeing. I'm just saying
yeah.
I'm not speaking on it.
No, I'm just saying. I say the thing about the Chargers because he has winning intangibles. He just has a winning DNA, making those winning types of plays. And I think a lot of times that, in the midst of all this stuff that we're talking about, oftentimes gets forgotten because Brunson is just a winning player. That's really what I want to emphasize. So I don't expect Brunson to be anything different. He is who he is. He's going to be efficient. He's going to make clutch shots. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson at all, and I'm sure you guys aren't either worried
nah,
about it. Yeah,
I, no, I'm not worried about him. But I like Tone said, I think he's trying to play a little differently. So it's going to take him some time to
right.
whatever his vision of his how he wants to play now. I think it's going to take him some time. But yeah, I agree. I'm not concerned.
Where y'all want to go next? I mean, we could do Grimes. I was gonna say Grimes or DiVincenzo, but we could probably do them as we could probably cover them both.
Piggyback
Together.
You know what I mean? Together.
him.
You want to do Hartenstein Um, let's do Hartenstein. We'll close out whenever we close out. We'll close out with the
Right.
Grimes and DiVincenzo thing. Um, interesting. I mean, Hartenstein, I think he's playing great. I think he's actually playing better than last year so far this early in the season. He was pretty much consistent since the beginning of the year, when when Brunson was looking a little shaky, Randall was looking funny in the light. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, the center position, you can actually argue that's been our most consistent position all year long.
No
You,
doubt.
you know what I mean? From the starter to the bench. Uh, Tibbs last night, he said, he was giving Hartenstein his credit, his kudos, and just saying how hard it is to find minutes when Mitch is playing as well as he
Yeah.
is. But he's like, I want to play him more, but it's like, oh,
First
but
world
yeah,
problems.
yeah. Another good thing, good problems to have. I love it. I love it. Instead of worrying about, oh, why is this guy playing? It's something you gotta figure out and live with the results. But I mean, I don't even know what to point to specifically, except that he's been great. You know what I mean? He's been great all year. I'm still
Foul
looking for
line,
him.
though. The fouling needs to come down though, but
I mean, yes. I'm not mad with the fouls. I'm mad more of when they occur,
right,
as opposed to, like, it's not like he's in foul trouble, or you know what I mean, like he can't stay on the floor because of it, but sometimes they just untimely. But he's had some timely everything else. Whether it's a putback. I mean, he's just, I don't say just as good, but he's dominating the offensive rebounds as well. Um, Attacking the rim, cutting to the basket. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
I mean, I don't know what else to really say. I mean, we could probably jump
Either.
past him quickly, but he's been very solid. Deserves more minutes, but you can't take him from away from Mitch the way he's playing. So
Yeah.
what else? What else? I don't know. You want to add anything about Hartenstein? I do want to see that 3-point shot. I mean, even if it's like one attempt a game, I'm not even concerned with the percentage per se.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I just want it to be another threat, another staple that teams got to think about
Right,
when he's on the floor. You know what I mean? Especially considering they never gonna think about that with Mitchell Robinson on the floor. So, well,
right.
that would be the only thing I would want him to just give me one attempt per game. You know what I mean? Find a way to get one of the game. I think it's gonna open up the offense even
The
more.
way is right with who he's on the floor with. He's on the floor with Quickly, Barrett, maybe Hart he could find. Yeah, DiVincenzo. They're not too ball dominant, so maybe he can't find a shot.
I mean, the pick and pop. You know what I mean? He's already a high pick person anyway. You know what I mean? It just usually ends up with whoever he's doing the pick for attacking the basket. Um, but if he set the pick, take a step back to the 3-point line as quickly as, you know what I mean, attacking the rim, he get double teams, throw it out, something like that. I like to see that. But other than that, man, I got no, and that's not even a complaint. That's like a suggestion box.
Right.
Just
Wish
drop that in. Yeah, I mean, drop that in there. Anything I want to add about Hartstein?
I hear you, Tony. To me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, the Knicks are. I think before the game last night, they were 10th in offensive rating. Um, I'm comfortable with what Hartenstein's doing right now. He's taking an improvement as well, rebounding the basketball. Like Juju Caesar said, perfect compliment to Mitch. Both of our centers are tremendous. Let's keep doing what they're doing. I don't see any need for Hartenstein that get a 3 ball or anything like that. We got a lot of 3-point shooters, and they're knocking down shots. So at this point, cool.
Queen?
Um, I could take it. I could take it or leave it. I think if he does become proficient at it, it definitely opens up more lanes for us. But I could take it or leave it. Yeah, I'm not pounding the table for it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, nor am I. I'm just. I was trying to give some more context. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, I want to be. Oh, I love everything. He's doing everything great.
right, right.
um, let's do. We don't really gotta talk about dudes. Fournier made a brief appearance. We don't got to talk about that. We did the whole starting five. I mean, we might as well close it out and let's. I mean, no, let's do quickly, and then we'll do DiVincenzo and Grimes. We'll do them together. Um, quickly, I feel like he's really kind of been the same for the most part. I mean, he's quickly. I'm on record. That's my favorite player. Um, on the Knicks, I still think he has that potential to be greater than he is, or he has been. But yeah, I mean, it's not much to say bad. He had a couple bad games, but maybe two. But other than that, I think he's been real solid for us. Helped us win some games, close some games. To Josh's point, that closing lineup when he's in it, that's been tremendous. Him and Brunson, those two threats in the backcourt. Um, I think he's on pace for sixth man of the year this year. You know what I mean? Maybe Tibbs is like, no, I'm not giving him no starts unless I absolutely need to. That's not gonna, you know what I mean, prevent, because that's why he lost. Supposedly, he started too many games. Um, he was still in consideration, but that was the knock. He started too many games. So maybe that's why he hasn't had that starting opportunity, but that closing opportunity, he's there for it. And yeah, it's almost like Hartenstein. There's not much I could really say in detail, except I mean he seems like he's getting better. Decision making seems to be better. I love the fact that she's trying to add the little mid range pull up. You know, sometimes it's shaky, sometimes it's good. But yeah, Quick's been solid, man. I'm all for him winning sixth man of the year this year, and us re-signing him. But that's all I'm gonna say about him right now. Anybody, what y'all think about Quick? Still,
Go, Josh.
No, I mean nothing that I haven't said already for the past year and a half about quickly. He is extremely important to this team. What he brings off the bench and that other ball handler on the floor. I think at times, as great as Brunson's been, to reiterate this point, as great as Brunson's been, sometimes teams can adjust and they will adjust to Brunson, double team him, and what have you. And even in those situations, Brunson has still been great, but I don't think that's ideal. Having another ball handler on the floor is very, very helpful for us at the end of games. In that Atlanta game, we've seen it. I think from 8 minutes down to 2 minutes, Brunson was the primary. Quickly was the primary ball handler on the floor with Randall on the wing and Brunson in the corner. And because of that penetration in the two-man game between Randall and Quickly, Brunson got open opportunities and catch and shoot. And that's Captain Clutch right there, his ability to make those shots. He's an efficient player. I just don't think it's always necessary to have Brunson with the ball in his hands with Quickly's on the floor. I think Quickly's a much better on-ball player than he is off-ball player. And I think having those guys on the floor together is great at the end of games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to the original question, yeah, I like what I've seen from Quickly this year. I thought, coming out of training camp, he seemed a bit helter skelter to me. He seemed out of sorts, but he wasn't the only one. But I think he's kind of settled down since then, and has been great. In terms of his decision making. And this is hard for any guard that has game. When do I shoot? When do I pass? That's not, always, that balance is not always easy. But I think as of late, he's found that. And, he makes the extra pass. Like I said, I don't expect it to be consistent with him, Randall, and Brunson. But for the most part, he's doing that. And, I like what I'm seeing from Quick.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to Ron and John. Still Knicks fans in the building. Appreciate you guys. And the chat, man. They. I wasn't even gonna talk about Hart, but there's some Hart talk on here. I see. I know Josh is definitely gonna be feeling these comments. Josh Hart most definitely overpaid equals nepotism. Josh Hart shouldn't be making more than 13 million. And what was the other one? Josh Hart, where is it? I can't find it, but they said he's making. Oh, here we go. Juju Caesar. He says Josh Hart is making more than both IQ and Mitch. um, here's the thing though. These guys are. I mean, IQ's on a rookie contract, so he like. It's not like we extended quickly and Josh Hart is making more than him. You know what I mean? So let's see what IQ gets when he's extended, and then I mean I love the value of Mitchell's contract, so I ain't arguing. I was all for pay that man. He got paid. You know what I mean? And to me, it's a good deal. But I know Josh is he's been on record. Josh Hart is overpaid. We paid too much for him. Um, Bad contract, etc. I don't feel that way. I feel like Josh Hart has actually been doing Josh Hart things this year, like always. The three ball seems to still be falling. I don't know what the percentage is, but I mean, if he could keep shooting the three ball and then doing everything else that he brings when he gets on the floor, man, I feel like it's still a good contract. And the fact that you know what I mean, I always said, look at it. If he signs if he opts in and signs the extension, to me, that's like look at it over the 4 years. That last year is a team option, I believe. So I think everything about that contract was great, spot on, and it's what we had to do at the time. But anything which I want to say about, I mean, you could talk about the contract if you want, Josh. But what have you seen from
No,
Josh Hart this year? Anything you liked? Anything you
I mean,
don't like?
he's doing the same things he did last season. I mean, obviously not doing it. It's not as impactful because it doesn't necessarily need to be because our starters have been tremendous. So he's doing the same things. It just doesn't have the same impact because it's not necessary, so to speak. We're not going to go back and forth about the contract. I still think he's overpaid. I think he's paid relative to the way the contracts are structured on the Knicks. He's paid like the number one guy off the bench, and he is the third guy off the bench as far as productivity, in my opinion. If you want to talk DiVincenzo being better than him in that regard, and then Hartenstein, you could probably make an argument for that. But either way, I mean, it's fine as of right now, as long as when it comes time to start paying people or making moves, it's fine right now. It's fine. I mean, we're not making any moves. The Knicks are conservative, so it's all right. But as long as our payroll stays, somewhere under the luxury tax threshold, I'm cool with it. But let's make that move though. As long as that contract doesn't prevent us from making that move, I'm all good. Or if you want to put him in the move, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, I think he's definitely underperforming compared to last year, in my opinion. I haven't ran the numbers from last year to this year, and a lot of what he does, at least last year, doesn't show up on the score sheet on the stat sheet. I'm not getting that sense this year that he's doing a lot that's just not showing up on the stat sheet. It is what it is. I think I agree as far as the contracts, because everybody's contract, RJ's, the one we give quickly, the one we get like. I hope none of these contracts get in the way of us improving, improving this team. I don't really care about going over the luxury cap per se, because that's Dolan's money. But after the luxury cap is that first tier. And then that's when it really stops. There's some limitations on what you can do to improve your team. And so let's see what the Knicks do in the offseason. We got Quick we got to take care of. Grimes is coming up. Hopefully we make some moves. Hopefully we make some moves soon.
Shout out to Parish Doug. It's been a minute. Says fans definitely got to stop measuring certain players with numbers.
What? You kidding me? How else do you measure them?
I mean, to Queen's point, I mean, she said it's not the same, but last year it was really more about impact than numbers with Josh Hart. I feel like it's still that. But to your point, I don't think we've needed the impact from him as of yet. You know what I mean? The time will come when he'll have his impact moments. You know what I mean?
Tony, impact to what though?
Winning.
Right. Winning is measured by what?
What do you mean measure by what? How do you
Numbers,
win
right?
the game by outscoring?
The number of wins.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to be
like
funny. I'm just trying to be funny.
yeah, there's certain things that you can't. You know what I mean, they don't have a stat for. Yeah, you know
No,
what I
that's
mean.
true. That's very true. I mean, are we seeing that from Josh Hart this year after he got paid the contract?
What I will say is,
No.
I like that his 3-point is still falling this year, and the fact that he's gonna be the guy that teams actually leave open. You know what I mean, and double off of. Like, I mean, let's be real. It was him and RJ. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like who from the wing position, who are you gonna? Who is the other team more than likely gonna leave open to double off of? I mean, unless it's obviously Mitchell Robinson, but he ain't gonna be on the perimeter. So he's got to knock those down. He's been doing them, and honestly, it's surprising to me, like because I'm still waiting for it to,
Right.
you know what I mean? So,
Him
but
and
the fact,
RJ to revert back.
yeah, but the fact that he's shooting it with confidence, he ain't hesitating. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, hey, if it's gonna keep falling, I'm fine because he brings everything else. Couple bonehead decisions here and there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I mean, that's part of it. It's like that Starks effect. You know what I mean? Like,
So Josh Hart is shooting 31% on 3 attempts this year from 3.
That's all.
it
Seems
don't
like
feel like
once
it.
he gets the open ones, he's knocking
Yeah,
it down.
it feels like it. I'm telling you.
It feels like more. But I will say this. This is what I've been rooting for, clamoring for, pounding the table for since the Knicks season closed last year. And that was for the Knicks to make shots. Everybody was on the ball movement kick, and I'm not against ball movement. I played the game, I coached the game. It's beautiful. I'm not against it. But I just felt like it was overplayed and over talked about in the sense that we were talking about that more than we were talking about the Knicks not making shots.
That's fair.
This year, the Knicks, they're not even making the 2-point. They ain't even making the easy shots, the 2-point shot. But the 3-point shots, we're top 10 in the league. And what that does now is it creates space for you. You understand what I'm saying? Ball movement can get you open and there's other things ball movement does. Don't get me wrong. But when you're knocking down your shots, that's going to create the space for your pick and rolls. That's going to create the space for your cutting. That's going to create the space for your drives because guys have to stay at home now.
Mhm.
When we play Boston, and we don't have this luxury because we play with Mitch, they had guys who could hit the 3 and they had KP. The middle was wide open. I'm seeing more of that with us because guys are hitting the threes, and I think it's out. Like you can't pack the key with the Knicks. Like you're gonna have to actually go out and guard. And Josh Hart, even though he's only at 31%, I thought it was more.
It looked like more.
Looks like more. And RJ Barrett, that changes everything because think about it. A team is, if they're packing the key, if that's their game plan, they're not coming out because Grimes is hitting 4 or 5. They're coming out of their base defense because the team is hitting their threes. This is where we are now, 7, 8, top 10 in 3-point percentage. That bodes well for our offense. It's going to allow us to spread it out. It's going to give us those pick and roll lanes, those drive lanes, those cutting lanes for us to do what we need to do to take our offense to another level. So I'm hoping, knock on wood and everything else, that this continues because we still got the offensive rebounds. We can still play the volume game. All of the things that made us top 3, 4 last year, we have all of that. Plus you adding 3-point shooting. Plus we getting fast break points. Plus we're getting, points off turnovers. I think we're top 10 last I checked. And points off turnovers and fast. You adding that, you have the makings, if we can keep it up, of a really dynamic offensive team. Let's see if it continues, and hopefully our 2-point shooting comes around because we're getting some good looks, outside of 3 or inside the 3, I guess I should say. Let's see if we start hitting those.
So, I mean, me and Queen disagreed about this last year. I think she's right, though. I think she is right. I just think what we're talking about with regards to these open shots and the ball movement is kind of a chicken and egg situation, right? Because I think the Knicks are shooting much better now than they did last season, but they're also moving the ball at a higher level more than they did last season. So I think it's more of a chicken and egg situation. I can see from her perspective how it kind of was overplayed, but I still think it's very important to the success of what this team is doing offensively now. The backdoor cutting that we're seeing, the passing, passing it to get, turning good shots into great shots, moving without the basketball, the off-ball movement. I think all of that is important. So I think it's a chicken and egg situation. And I think, again, open shots does not necessarily mean great shots. Like what I was telling Tony and Sim on one of the previous podcasts, because we played into Miami's hands last year. And I get it. Those shots we probably could have made during the regular season. But in the playoffs, I just think teams are going to defend us differently when we don't have that pull-up game. And so a lot of different things go into just making shots. Making shots is obvious. We have to make shots. But I think getting great shots is very important also in the offense. And I think it's a chicken and egg situation. I don't know what came first, making the shots to get the ball movement or ball movement to open shots. I think both of them are equally important. One is a cause, one is an effect, but we don't know which
one. I will say this, and I'm not disagreeing with you, because I know when I make the statement, it comes across as if I don't appreciate ball movement or I don't think it's important, because ball movement does a few things other than get you open shots or even easy shots. The Knicks always got open shots, and we could talk about, but they didn't get easy shots. They getting easy shots right now. They're missing it. We're like bottom something in 2-point field goal percentage, right? The reason why our offense looks the way it's looked is because of our 3-point shooting, and we always got that. Because for me, whether you're getting open shots off of ball movement, whether you're getting open shots off of the gravity of Randall out of the double team, whether you're getting open shots off of driving kicks with Randall, Brunson, RJ, you're getting open looks. Ball movement is great. I'm not against ball movement.
I know.
But ball movement is not, I feel like I got to keep saying that. I'm not against ball movement. Knocking down your shots causes the defense to shift. You understand what I'm saying? The defense has to come out. Try to envision what I'm trying to say.
I hear you. I'm with you, Queen.
Go back against Miami. You can pass the ball all you want. If I'm a coach, listen, the Knicks can't shoot. Stay in the key. I don't care how much they pass the ball, how many open shots they get. We're playing the percentages. They're not going to knock them down enough to win. They're not a consistently good team. If they get hot, they may win a game. But they're not going to win this series. That was the game plan against the Knicks. So when a team is packing it in, ball movement gets you nothing. Teams are leaving you open because they know you can't shoot. The Knicks were number 1 in open shots. It wasn't because of our offense. It's because we couldn't shoot. They was leaving us open. That's why the Knicks got so many shots.
And I agree with that.
It's the same point you're making, Josh, when you say
it's the same point. And that's what I was going to say.
Just because it's an open shot.
Shots down. It's going to open up everything for you.
And to me, I
agree. I have no objections to that. I agree with that.
And to me, I don't even look at it like chicken or egg or cause and effect. To me, I try to separate them all because I think they're all just as important. You know what I mean? Like you guys are saying, if you don't hit the shot, it don't matter if it's an open shot or not. So yeah, you got to have the ball movement, but you got to hit the shot. You know what I mean? You got to get the player movement. That's, to me, that's the third thing.
That's the part of it. Like when I say ball movement, I was talking about mostly the player movement and the off-ball movement, trying to get open on the floor. Because ball movement is going to happen. Ball movement is going to happen.
Yeah.
But do you agree, Josh, that if you hit shots, because if they're packing it in, even if you have player movement, you might catch them off guard and get a dunk. You might catch them off guard on a backdoor cut. All they're gonna do is
adjust.
Somebody was out of position. Somebody didn't maintain game plan discipline. That's why they got that shot.
No, but I think about the rhythm of the offense as well. I think of rhythm of offense because you can be open standing there flat-footed, and I don't think that's a good shot. I don't think that's a great shot, but you're wide open, right? I hear what you're saying, Quinn. You're not wrong. I think we're saying some of the same things. I don't think that the man movement thing is overemphasized. So that's what I'm just kind of pushing back on that a little bit. But you're correct, 100%. You got to make shots. This is the NBA. You know what I'm saying? You got to make those shots. And I think if we would have, that Miami series could have went longer. But again, I think the loss to quickly.
You would have won.
But I think that loss could quickly really hurt us as far as the ball handling is concerned because it was going to change up the way Miami was defending us. And I look about it in that kind of nuanced
I don't think it would have
variety.
made a
But you're right.
I don't think it would have made a difference. I think quickly would have took pressure off of Brunson. I think we would have been able to get into our sets and they still would have packed it in. And if we didn't hit shots, it would have still been the same thing because Miami maintained game plan discipline. Do not venture too far from the key. Grimes takes 5 shots a game. We don't need to come out of our defense for Grimes, even if he hits all 5 of them.
Yep.
Do you believe
because he's not going to take 10?
He's not going to hurt us. Give him that.
Let me ask you y'all a question. What about the saying about I think Charles Barkley was the one who brought it up last year, and it's been brought up a few postseasons before. There's a such thing as depending on the 3 way too much. Do you think that the Knicks dependent on the 3 way too much? I'm just asking y'all personal opinion on that.
No, I don't disagree, but I just think that's the way the game is played today. We're going to take the threes because we're going to take 50 of them. We only going to hit 20, but of those 20, we're going to get an extra point for each one. I think we're playing the volume game, but I agree. I do think it's too much.
What she said, because
it's too much.
And honestly,
game plan is
for the Knicks. For the Knicks, I don't even be feeling that way because the league shoots more. You know what I mean? Like
come playoff time, it hasn't been that successful though. That's why everybody says in the playoffs you can't depend on the 3 too much. Maybe during the regular season. So I was kind of looking at it from that perspective. Like, what do you think about that? Because the game overall in totality has changed. But come playoff time, that is like a thing. Like you're not can't depend on the 3 too much. You can't be one dimensional in that regard. And I just felt like when I stay playing into Miami's hands, and yes, Steph, you're right. They packed the paint and did all of this. You know, we kind of fell into that.
Yeah, I mean, we fell
into hit the shot. We would have been good.
Exactly.
You want to post up Randall? They right there. You want to run some people through the key? They right there. You want to run pick and rolls? The roll man, they're right there. So, but I get your point. Do we have to put up 50 of them? I'm exaggerating. Right. Or do you just put up enough, particularly in the playoffs, to your point, Josh, to keep them honest so that the lanes, because a lot of times it's not even that you're making them, but that they know you can. And maybe what we're doing in the regular season will send that message that they can. So they already come into the playoffs guarding us. And that does open up, lanes for us. I definitely see more player movement. I definitely see Randall operating, more in the, more in the post now. I hope he doesn't wear down over the course of, the course of a season. But I do see him, in the post more.
Well, last season, that's how it was too. The Knicks were in offensive rating, whatever, and we went to the playoffs with that type of mentality, and it didn't work.
But we didn't have the shooting, though. We didn't have the shooting. We were 20th, 19th.
Oh, you're talking about regular season numbers. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We just that's why I was banging the table for the shooting. Like we could just get some shooting. That's gonna help us in the playoffs. Now you can get those pick and rolls with Mitch. You could do the Knicks are doing all kind of pick and rolls with people. I haven't even seen
so much more.
The Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson pick and roll. That is my favorite.
You get a pick and roll. You get a pick and roll. You get a pick and roll.
I'm gonna clip that. I'm gonna find out how to clip that. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Appreciate the super chat. He says wins. I'm gonna think that's winning. Okay, winning is measured by the final score, not individual stats. We have seen this team dominate.
When have you seen?
Oh, when have you seen this team dominate? Hart's percentage at the end of the 24 shot clock makes our high. I mean, maybe that's what I'm remembering because, again, it don't look like
$30 high, $20 million high, and I like Hart. He's one of my favorite players on the team. Yeah. He's not playing well right now. That's just
no. I mean, he's not. He's definitely but I wouldn't call it underperformer. You know what I mean? I feel like he really it's almost a different role. Even with we're gonna talk about DiVincenzo now, but I think even the addition of DiVincenzo kind of changed some of what Hart is asked to do. You know what I mean? Because
the question is, it worth $20 million a year? That's the question. Is it worth $20 million a year? if his role has changed or, in fact, been minimized. That's the question.
Yeah.
Hey, whether
When
it's
he
worth it
signed
or
it,
not,
I thought it was close. I thought it was
yeah,
like 18
yeah.
million-ish. I'm like, I'm not gonna sweat over
And
2 million.
and
Now,
again,
though, the way he's playing,
and, and again, had he opted out and he signed the same deal, I would feel different. But the fact that like that contract don't even kick in yet till next year,
and the last year you
and
said it's option, team
is a team
option.
option.
Yeah,
So
that's how they've
yeah,
been doing all their contracts, 3 and
so
1
it's
or something
like
like that. Yeah.
no, I think it's it, if I want to be like devil's advocate, I'm like technically, yeah, I mean you can't judge him till next year. When the contract, like I was saying with RJ signed.
RJ, right? Oh, I was so upset when I was because I was measuring RJ. I mean, for his game, but also
Uh-huh.
compared to the contract. I was like, come on. And then I looked at Kelly Oubre's numbers. You guys get a chance, look at Kelly Oubre's numbers last year. I'm like, this guy signed for a minimum. He had pretty much the exact same stats. You can get this off the waiver wire.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a better defender too.
Yeah, but he's come up big so far.
All right. We're gonna close it out with DiVincenzo and Grimes. Oh man, it's so many different ways we could go. I mean, last night with Sim, we talked about, Josh gonna have some things to say. We talked about, and it wasn't even
Why
us
me?
I mean, it wasn't us advocating. To be honest, we were really reacting to Nick's Twitter and some of the things people were saying after the game. As far as DiVincenzo's starting down sometime down the line, or what if, I think that was Sim's situation, what if Grimes misses 3 weeks, right? 2 weeks, but the Knicks go on a run with DiVincenzo at the start. Do you keep that chemistry going, or do you bring Grimes back into the starting lineup? And then just the comparison on not necessarily the comparison, but what we saw from him last night. I mean, it looked good. It looked seamless. You know what I mean? It looked effortless. It didn't look like he had to really adjust. He just played his game, and I don't know. I'm not advocating for him to start, but the fit is seamless. You know what I
I'm
mean? Like
advocating
he
for it.
his aggression. You advocated for it.
I,
I'll
I
let you.
advocate
I'll let you take the floor first.
I
And,
advocated
and
for it before the season started. And I always had an if because I'm not that familiar with him, so I
mhm,
needed to see him. Listen, I'm not somebody that goes off the rails when somebody shoots the ball well. I'm a
mhm,
process person. Like, what's the process? How do they look? What decisions are they making? How, like, that's what I'm, because your shot is gonna come. What if next game he shoots 2 for 19? Oh, I
mhm,
don't understand why he got so many men.
Right.
Like, so to me, it's not about that. But I said in the beginning of this, before the season started, and this is to Josh points when he talked about quickly closing with Brunson.
mhm,
I felt like we needed someone, and I didn't care if it was Grimes, right? Because he was working with this person, working with that. He was a point guard. I didn't care who it was. We needed somebody in that starting lineup other than Brunson that can handle the damn ball, right? So it's not Brunson bringing it up against the world. And also, Brunson can now play off the ball some, get his catch and shoot going. If Grimes can do that, great. Doesn't have to be DiVincenzo, but if he can't do that, and the Knicks, for whatever reason, are that they're not going to put quickly, in that starting lineup, who could provide that for Brunson now? And DiVincenzo, I'm imagining could, but from what I read, I needed to see him. The issue with DiVincenzo, though, is his size compared to Grimes. Grimes can, as you say, Tony, guard up. Can DiVincenzo guard up? Um, DiVincenzo, like Grimes, doesn't need the ball. Like if he could play on and off the ball, and he would be totally okay playing the Grimes role, you know? Um, but can he guard up? That being said, Grimes be getting cooked too by these taller people, and not because they're good, not because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. You're putting them on Siakam and Tatum and all of these other guys. So I think with DiVincenzo, or quick, but I know they're not going to go that way, can give us, in terms of our backcourt being more dynamic, I'm willing to give up a little muscle defensively to get
especially
that.
if it's minimal.
I'm willing to
Especially
give up.
if it's minimal. I mean, I had the same sentiments as far as that was my only concern.
Right.
Can he
And
guard
he
up?
got up.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like just in general, he is a better player than Grimes. You know what I mean? Like he can do more. He can handle the ball more. He could shoot the ball just as well, if not better. You know what I mean? Like better rebounder. He's more seasoned. You know what I mean? Like he's with. I expect Grimes to end up becoming after 6 years in the league. Except you know what I mean.
Correct.
So that's my thing. But I told Sim yesterday. I'm like, oh, I want to do a show tomorrow. I think I'm gonna because we were already talking about what I mean what was going on with the Knicks universe, and a lot of people are advocating. But I'm like, I'm gonna do a show advocating for Grimes to stay in as a starter. Because that was what I was thinking. So again, I'm not ready to make that switch immediately, and I feel like if DiVincenzo can do what he's, our starting five is fine. It's similar to what you were saying, Josh, yesterday. We you know what I mean, like our starting five is fine. If DiVincenzo could start producing the way he did last night, off the bench, now that gives us two threats in that second unit. If we're moving Grimes to the
That,
second unit, I'm not sure if he's gonna elevate in that. You know what I mean, I don't know if Grimes
mm,
plays any better in that second unit.
right.
Now, Sim brought the question up. Well, what if DiVincenzo is making the starting five that much better? You know what I mean? Then can you take the loss in the second unit? But I just like the fact that we can have two guys, two threats. Now, granted, it's always going to be a starter in that second unit too, with a 9-man rotation. So maybe we still have the two threats. I don't know. I'm throwing a lot out there. What was you gonna say, Queen?
Before Josh go real quick, I think basically there's two issues. Who's better? But what does that do for the second unit? So I think that's kind of part of the like decision making. What does it do for our second unit? I think if we weren't worried about the second unit, I don't think it would be much of a issue, but
Question.
for me anyway. But I do worry about what does that do for the second unit.
So I'll add a third question to that. How do the units perform collectively with either Grimes in there or
Right,
DiVincenzo in there?
right. Yes, that's
Like
what
I said, like I've always said, that this starting lineup, one of the big things that the Knicks sold us on coming into the season was continuity, consistency, and that has been the case since Thibodeau's been here as far as the lineups. Right, the lineups have not changed. And the rotation may have changed, when they took Fournier and all that out, but for the most part, we know who's going to be out there on the floor, who's going to start, and the type of minutes that they're going to get. That has not changed, and I think that also contributes to the Knicks' success this season as well. I think it's very convenient. I've said this last night. I think it's very convenient for this topic to be brought back up when DiVincenzo has a career night. You know what I mean? He shot 70% from three last night.
right, right,
You know what I'm saying? So I think that is part of the reason. Not saying he's not capable of starting, Tony. I
No,
know
but
he's
that's not the
capable of starting.
definitive rate. It's more because he started. You know what I mean? It's not because he could
Yeah.
have had the career night off the bench. I don't think automatically that would have been the topic. You know what
Yeah,
I
I said
mean? I
it's
think it's
convenient.
because
I said it's convenient. Not it's like convenient
But
for
I
people to
always
have that.
felt this way.
Yes, I know
Even,
that. I know
even
that.
before
Mhm.
last night, I said this from the beginning.
So I just 100% disagree with the notion that Dante DiVincenzo is that much more of a ball handler than Quentin Grimes. I think any one of the Nick guards, Brunson, DiVincenzo, or Grimes, can get the ball inbounded to them and bring it up the floor. In the half court, hold on. In the half court, when the Knicks are running their half court offense, I don't think Dante DiVincenzo is the type of ball handler we need. Neither is Quentin Grimes. Neither of them playing next to Jalen Brunson. They don't fit a quickly type of role, in my opinion. I don't think Dante DiVincenzo fits that role. I think what he did last night, how he got his 70% from three, was he was an off the ball shooter, which is what Quentin Grimes is. And it just so happened that DiVincenzo had a great night being an off the ball catch and shoot player. But he's not. DiVincenzo is not going to increase the Knicks starting lineup collectively being out there as an on ball player. He's just not, because that's not who he is. He is a catch and shoot guy that has the ability to cut back door and do those types of things. But to me, I just don't think that's worth changing the starting lineup at this point, this early in the season, after a year and a half of consistency. I don't think it's worth it.
I think this is the best time to do it so that they can get that continuity. And if Grimes is going to be out for a while, they will be able to, by force, be able to get the continuity. Look, I agree with you. DiVincenzo is going to play the same role that Grimes played, but DiVincenzo is going to do it better. He's going to shoot the ball better. He's going to be more aggressive with his shots. You have to coax Grimes to take the shots. Not only that, he's going to attack the closeout. He's going to make that extra pass. Like, to me, Grimes is just catch and shoot in that half court offense. I've seen him attack the closeout some, but some. I don't think that's like
Quentin Grimes' first step. Him going off the dribble.
No. He has it.
I'm not saying
what utilized often.
I'm talking about what we see consistently. I'm not saying and that could be confidence. That could be whatever it is. He's played less than 2 years of game experience,
and that's the thing.
He's right where he needs to be. This is no knock on Grimes. Right. He's where he should be at this point in his career. But DiVincenzo gives you the same thing, and he's seasoned, and he's aggressive, and he's not passive, and he's a really good playmaker off those. Like, that extra pass for DiVincenzo, he just sees it. He attacks the plug, whatever play it was. Then somebody hit him. Then he hit Mitch for the.
It's cerebral.
He's just a little more seasoned than Grimes right now, and it's okay. That's all.
Yeah. So let's say, for the sake of argument, like I'll agree with you and say DiVincenzo is individually better than Grimes.
Not what I'm talking about for the team. I'm talking about for the team.
That's the part. So that's the part right there that I just don't think there's enough proof in the pudding yet to even consider making that move. Now, if it happens, let's say 3 weeks from now, Grimes is going to be out. And then, DiVincenzo has been there for 3 weeks, and the team is performing at a higher level offensively in the starting unit, DiVincenzo going to that starting lineup. I think that will be the better time to have this conversation, in my opinion. But as of right now,
anytime.
I'm saying the better. No, hold on, real quick. I'm not saying not to have the conversation. I think it's the better time to have the conversation. I just think right now, before DiVincenzo was in the starting lineup, the offense in the starting lineup was doing fine, was doing great, right? Productivity-wise, this lineup that we've seen on the floor has been the best lineup that Tibbs has implemented now, and the team is winning. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think right now it's the time to, or the best time. I'll say the best time.
You just want more evidence.
You want more evidence, and it's okay, and that's totally fine. I don't think it's gonna throw the Knicks chemistry off, because I think DiVincenzo is gonna do exactly what Grimes did. It's not like he's a different place. It's not like you bringing in DeMar DeRozan. Like, that's gonna throw everything off. I don't think DiVincenzo is that. I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna throw the chemistry off that much. And I think he's a better ball handler bringing the ball up than Grimes. Grimes is shaky. And part of it, I think, is his confidence. Whenever somebody gets close to him, he picks up his dribble. Like, why are you picking up your dribble?
And it don't matter where he is on the floor.
He just picks it up.
I got a question for Knicks and Knights. How do I like losing? The team was winning before DiVincenzo went in the starting lineup with Grimes. So how like, I'm not making an argument for the Knicks to lose. That's not what I'm doing at all.
It wasn't because of Grimes. Like
I don't think the team is winning now because of DiVincenzo.
That's true, but to me, I just feel like he brings what Grimes brings at a higher level. He's more seasoned. That lack of that aggressiveness, the passiveness of Grimes. And the ball handling, which I know you like, I agree with you. In the preseason, when we played Boston and all of the starters, most of our rotation sat out, and they was putting the pressure on DiVincenzo, and both of them was having issues bringing up the ball against pressure. I'm not arguing that. I just think Grimes has more issues because he gets nervous and pick the ball up.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just looking at the unit as a collective. I'm just looking at them as a collective.
And I don't think any of us are arguing that DiVincenzo handles the ball better than Quickly. That's not the argument either.
Oh yeah, of course not.
You know what I mean? But I think we both agree that he's a capable ball handler. Like I mean, we saw it last night.
Right.
He brought the ball up as the point guard. You know what I mean? And let Brunson play off ball at times. We have not seen that from Grimes.
Can I ask a question? When I say bring the ball up, because I think that's where I'm kind of, I guess, missing it. When you say bring the ball up,
you're saying like create like the offense
in the half court. In the half court, not just
you,
bringing the ball up the court. I'm not talking about that because I feel like any Knick guard can do that. That actual aspect of bringing the ball up.
Doesn't even do that.
And that's what
you don't even. Okay, I hear what you're saying. We're not talking about Quick. Quick brings a whole. I would love for Quick to start next to Brunson. The Knicks don't. It's not gonna. We're not talking about Quick. We already know what Quick can do. If he was starting next to Brunson, I would love that. But it just doesn't seem like.
And that's the other thing too. When
Grimes don't even bring it up. When he does bring it up, it's a little shaky. And I'm just talking about Josh Brunson. You don't have to bring it up on this possession. We're gonna let Grimes bring it up and initiate the offense and make the first pass. Initiate.
Okay, so when I understand,
let
me understand what you're saying, Queen. When you say bring the ball up, you mean initiate in half court, initiate the offense in the half court. Okay,
just walk up the court.
Yes.
Why can't he walk up the court a few possessions a game?
Yes.
That's it. Just let him have some rest.
So now I see what you're saying as far as the half court game, not necessarily the actually bringing the ball up.
Not crossing people up. You know what I mean?
Just bring it up so he can get some rest. Initiate the offense, or even bring it up and just pass it to him once you get across half court. Let him rest. You don't get none of that with Grimes. Though. Let me tell you, I forgot what game it was. He did it twice. I almost had. I was like, oh my God, Grimes is bringing the ball up the court. You the shooting guard should be able to bring the ball. Brunson shouldn't have to bring it up every single time.
If you remember, Josh, when we had this conversation before the season started, we all prefer Quickly, you know what I mean. But the problem is, he's such a great ball handler. You don't want to remove that from the bench. And that's where we had, or at least I did. My thing was, I'm not sure if DiVincenzo could be a full-time backup point guard. You know what I mean? In the sense of what you're saying that Quickly does. I'm not sure that he can do what Quickly does, handling the ball. Right. So if we put Quickly in the starting lineup, who's minding that second unit? You know what I mean? But if Quickly's staying in his role as the sixth man, as the guy minding the second unit, I think that changes for DiVincenzo, putting him in that role as the two guard. So that, you know what I mean? So we're not saying he's better than Quickly at all.
No, I never said you were. I just don't think him being better than some of the things you're talking about is enough of it makes that much of a difference as far as the collective starting lineup, in my opinion. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. And at this point, I just don't think it's necessary to go ahead and make that move. Maybe after 3 weeks, we can probably revisit it. But right now, the offense is already 10th in offensive rating as it is. You know what I'm saying? And we're 5th or 4th in net rating.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the other thing. If Grimes
over the next week or so, if Grimes remains out.
And that was if Grimes is back tomorrow, then we're not saying still start DiVincenzo.
It's only a wrist injury. I think he'll be back next game. Actually,
no, but that's what I mean. If he's back tomorrow, none of us were saying, start DiVincenzo. I mean, I'm not speaking for you. I'm talking about yesterday.
I was on this. I just don't think Grimes is ready to be a starting shooter guy. And you can argue DiVincenzo isn't either. You know, I don't want to get into the front office and how they constructed this. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
You got to play who's on the team. You know what I mean? You got to play who's on the team. So I get it. But I will say in that second team, if you notice, Quickly is playing off ball.
Well, yeah, with Deuce playing, yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
With who playing?
Deuce.
When he's in there with DiVincenzo, he's playing off ball.
And,
He plays on ball some, but he plays off ball too.
and with Deuce. Like they
And with
actually
Deuce.
and they
Yeah,
was letting Deuce bring the you know what I
I
mean?
was noticing that. I was like, maybe they doing that to spare quickly in a sense of that they are the ones that bring it down, then they give it to him, and that's
Yeah.
all I want for Brunson. Let somebody else bring it down and give it to him.
And
You know,
actually
And that's
Queen,
the importance of
that's
having Quickly out there at the
that's
games. That's
that's
where I was coming
exact
from.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's exactly what they're doing. When Quickly's off ball, it's really just to get him, you know what I mean, running around real quick to go
emotion,
get the and then get the ball. You know what I
right?
mean? It's for no the same thing that you're saying what we want for Brunson. That's what they're doing
That's what they're
with
doing for
Quickly in
quickly.
that second unit.
DiVincenzo brings it up. Deuce
Yep.
brings it up. Then they hit quickly coming off whatever.
hmm Um, I think we covered everything. Queen, definitely a pleasure to have you back.
Oh,
Mondays it's been crazy for me the past couple weeks between going to the city, getting stuck in the city, uh, with the Amtrak went down. I had to stay an extra day, which was cool, but my daughter
you ain't
missed.
stopped by though,
eh,
and you
Hey,
ain't call
you,
and say let's meet up
you,
somewhere and have
Get
lunch.
him, get him, get him.
eh, let me tell you how it happened though. I, Saturday was the like if I knew I was gonna be there the extra day, I would have said let's go to Legends and watch the game and
Ah,
you know what I mean.
yes.
But I knew my train was leaving. Like what time was the game? 1 o'clock. So my train was supposed to leave at 3:05. So I'm like, I can't go to Legends and get back to
Right,
the catch the train. But then when the train got canceled, I was heated because I'm like, yo, if I would have planned to be here a whole extra
right.
day, it would have changed everything. I would, you know what I mean? I definitely would have called Eru. Oh, let's do a watch along. You
Yes,
know what I mean? Let's get
yes.
the band together. But you know what I mean? It just happened that I was there 2 extra days and I wasn't planning on it. But
It's cool.
everything's all good. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining.
Cool.
Any last
Tomorrow, 6:30.
there you go. I know Josh. Anything you want to add? I'll say that. I'll say that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Keep moving the ball. Keep Grimes in the starting lineup and close with quickly. That's what Josh gonna say.
Yes, yes, and do it until it breaks.
And
Right
we
now,
and
I don't think there's anything to change with this team. This team is playing so well right now. The team is winning games. I just think keep it up until we actually have to necessarily make the move. Then we do it. But as of right now, I'm cool. They're playing great. People talk about me being the pessimistic one. I'm liking what this team is doing. I like it, so I don't want to change it. I don't know. I don't see any reason,
Listen,
or enough of a reason, I would say, to
right.
change it at this very moment. Let's see more. A couple weeks down the road, we'll reevaluate, but not right now.
We play Minnesota because a lot of our games weren't against like great competition. We play
That too.
Minnesota and we play Miami. You know what I mean? We're gonna really see this team, um, what they're about, whether they could keep up the shooting against these next two really good defensive teams.
look, how you going I ain't even mad, but how you gonna plug Dope Soul Sports Talk and not plug your own show? You
Right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right, right,
So not only do you need to subscribe to Dope Soul Sports Talk if you haven't, but Die Hard Giants, you know what I mean? My guy, he's there every week, faithfully. You know what I mean?
faithfully.
Whether we win it, we won today. You know what I mean? Or we not, which we haven't been. So I am Jarrell, man. Salute, appreciate you. But yeah, you plug your joint too, bro.
All right, I gotta go. I appreciate
No,
you, brothers.
appreciate you too, Queen. I'll
Um,
see you tomorrow.
yeah, around 6. I gotta check with Sim, but I think 6:30 will be good.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to the chat again. Appreciate you guys for joining. Josh, always a pleasure to share the screen and you know what I
Always,
mean,
baby.
talk about things we don't agree with. But tonight, man, a lot of things we agreed on, to be honest. Even and a lot of
Yeah.
times, even when it sounds like we don't agree, we be saying the same thing, just in
Mhm.
different ways. But man, great show as always. Salute to the chat, man. I love you guys. No show without you. And you might see me later tonight with Sim. Might see me tomorrow at Queen's Court. Might do another Knicks and Bruises. I don't know. But definitely see you next week if not. Shout out to the chat, man. Go Black, it's time. We out of here. Peace.